Hi all. I've been thinking about obviously the situation with the whole COVID-19, the lockdown, etc. And basically I wanted to speak today about the fact that we can't access medical treatment other than if you go into the hospital with COVID-19. And the thing that keeps on going on in my mind is the Hippocratic Oath. Now, I know that the Hippocratic Oath has gone through lots of changes over the years. And so I just did a bit of research with regards to it. And I want to read you a few things that I've learned, and then I want to speak to you about my thoughts and the logic that I'm trying to follow, and hope that people will start thinking about this, because this whole lockdown thing to me, it doesn't make sense, and it's harming people beyond the virus, more than the virus. So bearing in mind the Hippocratic Oath, doctors, and how we are supposed to be protected by that Hippocratic Oath, I want to read a bit of the research that I've done so far. I'm not the studious person by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just your normal, average layperson. So I don't claim to be scholastic, know everything, no. But follow my thread of thought, and please, I welcome any kind of comments. So I looked up the BMJ, the British Medical Journal, and I typed in Hippocratic Oath, and it had lots of blurb, and it had talk about how it's changed over the years, etc. Do no harm was from the original Latin and Greek and the rest of it, and who quoted what and the rest of it. But anyway, there's a paragraph in it, and it says, in the Hippocratic tradition, the patient's benefit has been and should remain the focus of clinical practice. Indeed, the Hippocratic Oath does include two categoric statements that demand the physician's beneficent intervention. And then it says in quotes, I will apply the regimens of treatment according to my ability and judgment for the benefit of my patients and protect them from harm and injustice, end quote. And then it says, quote again, into whatever house I enter, I will do so for the benefit of the sick, end quote. Then it says, in 1948, the Second General Assembly of the World Medical Association adopted the Declaration of Geneva, appearing below as amended. So then, talking about this amended Declaration of Geneva from 1948, it lists certain oaths that doctors adhere to at the time. It says, at the time of being admitted as a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. And then I've highlighted this bit. The health of my patient will be my first consideration. Then it carries on and it says, I will respect the secrets that are confided in me. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. It carries on, but the thing I am interested in is the highlighted bit where it says the health of my patient will be my first consideration. Then it carries on and it says about 1964, where a modern version of the Hippocratic Oath was then penned, and that was penned by a Professor Lasagna, believe it or not, Lasagna, of the School of Medicine at Tufts University. So there's been amendments, there's been changes, but the bottom line is this, that doctors are still bound to Hippocratic Oath. When they study and when they qualify and when they become fully fledged doctors, in one way, shape or form, they take some kind of an oath. Then I went and looked at the GMC, General Medical Council, And Sir Keith Pearson, independent chair of the Revalidation Advisory Board, published a report on the review of revalidation of doctors carried out in 2016. And amongst that long report, there's point 234, and I quote, and it says, "Most, if not all doctors will have given witness to the Hippocratic Oath, possibly the most famous text in Western medicine. A line from that text reads, 'And I will use treatments for the benefit of the ill in accordance with my ability and my judgment.'" Okay, right. So we've gone over a bit of the whole history of the Hippocratic Oath, how it stands today, etc. And in my belief, from what I can understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, doctors today still do take an oath, and they need to live by that oath. Now, what I want to ask is, has that oath been suspended due to COVID-19? Because surely that oath also extends to those of us that do not have this virus, that are suffering from other illnesses, that are locked in their homes but still have undiagnosed symptoms ongoing, that before the lockdown they had approached their doctors, they had been referred to hospitals, to consultants for tests, diagnostic tests. Surely amongst the lockdown people, there are people that have been diagnosed with serious illnesses such as cancer, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, leukemia. You name your illness, there are people in the lockdown that are suffering of these things. Now, what I want to know is, why are the doctors not fulfilling their Hippocratic Oath? What is stopping them from doing that? And I don't believe it's the virus, because the virus is not as bad as we have been led to believe. In fact, the hospitals are not inundated with people all over the place falling prey to this virus. They are not. And now there are medical doctors that are coming out that are actually saying, actually, the lockdown is worse than you can do. So I want to ask medical practitioners out there, I want to ask doctors that have taken this oath, and I don't know if this is going to reach the audience that I want it to reach, but this is particularly for doctors that are out there that have taken this oath. Have you somehow been told by, and you've probably got a gag order, I don't know, I want to know. I'm asking doctors, consultants, those of you that have got this oath, that have made this oath to protect us as your public, as your patients. Why are you not working on the Hippocratic Oath? Is there something that government has told you not to do, to shut down all your departments in the hospital, to not pursue your current patient load? And if so, are you scared? Are you being threatened? Are you being coerced into doing something that brings you contrary to your Hippocratic Oath? I spoke to a consultant not so long ago on the phone, and he told me, naming no names or anything like that, he didn't kind of betray anyone's trust, he didn't do anything, nothing, gave me no specifics. All he said to me was that he had a patient that was going through chemotherapy for cancer. It had been stopped because of this COVID-19 thing. And so he referred this patient of his to private practice and said, carry on your treatment via private practice because you can't access it now through NHS. The patient pursued it, and he was even refused by private practice. Now, that was coming from the horse's mouth. That was coming from a medical professional, a consultant that I spoke to. So what I want to know, and conspiracy theory aside and the rest of it, because I know lots of you are going to kind of jump to the conclusion, oh, there's Liz going off again on one and she's got this conspiracy theory. Am I the only one that sees that there's something fundamentally wrong with this? Why, if you are a doctor and you want your patients to to pursue the treatment that they need to pursue, and you in all good conscience have taken this oath to be able to help your patients, all of a sudden the brakes have been put on it, and they're I almost get the sense of doctors are frightened to speak up. They've been kind of put under an impossible situation by the authorities, by whoever it is that has mandated that hospitals have to be shut. If it's not to do with this blooming virus, everyone else has to be put aside. And that's dangerous. That is dangerous. So I would like to put an appeal to any doctors who are brave enough to come forward and talk to me about this Hippocratic Oath. Because in my opinion, this Hippocratic Oath has been put on pause. And that shouldn't be the case. You don't pick and choose when you apply your Hippocratic Oath. You don't pick and choose when the situation is right to treat one patient and not another. There are lots of patients out here locked up in their homes, scared to go to A&E, scared to go to the hospitals, because they've been told to keep away. They've been told to stay in their homes. And if they do go to the hospitals, will they find any doctors there prepared to actually treat them? And if they do go into the hospitals, will they treat them according to this virus protocol? And then if they end up dying, they end up putting them on the death certificate as this virus that has killed them. I think I have an elderly father who has an array of illnesses: COPD, diabetes, peripheral artery disease, stroke. He's a stroke victim. Now, my fear is that if he was to go into hospital and fall ill at this moment in time, one of those things is going to kill him. But if one of those things were to kill him, what would go on the death certificate? It would be a C19, wouldn't it? So I'm afraid, and I think that some people maybe are keeping away from going into the hospitals also for the fact of, if they do end up being treated, will they be treated according to the illness that they have correctly, or will they be denied treatment or made to sign some kind of do not resuscitate, and then put that on the death certificate as a C19 death? So I'll be really surprised if this doesn't get taken down from YouTube, because I'm going to post it on YouTube. And because we're being censored nowadays, I'm going to actually download this to my computer, and then I'm going to keep on reposting it and reposting it and reposting it until this message gets out. I'm hoping that I'm wrong and that YouTube will not kind of flag this up as being against the rules and the rest of it, because funnily enough, YouTube is censoring things big time nowadays. They're taking videos left, right and centre down that don't go in accordance to what we are being told by the official narrative of things. So that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. I don't know what anyone else is thinking. I'm just kind of really annoyed, and when I get annoyed I ramble on. But this is not the ramblings of a mad woman, and this is not the ramblings of a person that's not trying to think logically. All of this, the lockdown, the virus, the lies we're being told on television, in our media, on social media, doesn't make sense, and I want to make sense out of it. And for those of you that think, oh, let's stay home and be good and let's do as we're told, because if we go out there we're going to just make it worse. No, you're not going to make it worse. This is a control, big time. So that's me, and I would welcome anyone's opinion or thoughts. I know that there are going to be some trolls that are going to be out there that are going to kind of jump on this and kind of try and discredit what I'm saying, or try and kind of I don't know, they're going to call me names, they're going to be kind of making aspersions and all sorts, but frankly I don't give a monkeys if you do, because I don't, I've got thick skin, and I'm just trying to kind of make people think and join up the dots, and at the moment the dots aren't being joined up to make any sense. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I look forward to any of your comments. Right, bye.